with $5 margaritas, half-price beers, and $10 wines and wings. Or lock in your table with reservations available now. Plus, don't miss the Crawfish Boil Saturday, March 22nd, 11 to 4. Get your half-off gift card for streetcar taps and garden before they're gone now. Visit 949thefan.com/deals.
The Nightcap with Tim Murray.
Breaking down the players and then trying to correlate them to the betting market.
And Sean King.
There are guys that are going to be available that have more value than overdrafting a running back.
Weeknights at 9 on your home for VSiN, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a cold Thursday afternoon in Nashville, the start of the NCAA March Madness with all of the games going on. As you can see in the background, we are at JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage. I'll tell you a couple of things about where we are. First of all, the location is 4770 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage. They have 36 beers on tap. Got 30 HD TVs, so you're not going to miss anything. And they've got great food, and here's some specials. 75-cent wings all day long. $1 off of drafts from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. And a double pour on well liquor until 7 p.m. tonight. So that'll sort of set the stage for what we're doing today. If you can come out, come by our table, for I have, yes, the bowling shirts to give away. We had one individual earlier come over, ask for a shirt, seemed very appreciative, seemed happy. Hello, Kelly.
Did he seem appreciative, or is he just taking it because, he felt bad for you?
No, he was delirious, to be honest about it. By the way, I'm not delirious. I am in the slump of all slumps.
Yes, you are. I was paying attention to that a little bit last night.
I thought you were, you dog.
You are not. Nobody's making any money off you right now, George.
No, they're not.
Listening.
But the law of averages suggests that will change eventually.
If they're listening, why would they be? Why would they be? Is what I'm asking.
You mean, why would they be paying attention?
Yes.
Right now, I'd say whatever I put out there, go the other way.
Go the opposite.
Go the other way. Billy, how are you today?
I'm good.
Well, that's wonderful.
And we've got double George again.
Why we got double George?
I don't know why that keeps happening.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you actually can see what's going on that side. So let me kind of get out of the way here and show people a little bit of what's happening. Yeah. There we go. Got a lot of folks enjoying March Madness, and it will continue tonight. The early session this evening has a bunch of the SEC teams going at it. Tennessee will open at 5:50. Arkansas at 6:10, A&M at 6:25, and Missouri will play Drake at 6:35. We've got finally one upset brewing, and it's a 5 against a 12, and right now the 5 is getting pummeled.
Yeah, and right now we've got a March Madness scoreboard update, the first of this year's March Madness. We had conference tournaments last week, but the first of the official NCAA tournament. It's brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. When these two national powers square off, Richardson Arena will be packed for next basketball season. It'll be Friday, December the 5th. And, George, they're pretty close to selling out.
They're within yesterday, I think it was 200.
So if
somebody's listening and they want to go to this, you better crank it up.
BridgestoneArena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. All right, let's take a look at some of the games going on right now. Auburn in a little bit of a fight with Alabama State right now. They extended their lead late in the first half, but they lead 41-31 over Alabama State. Are they the Yellow Jackets? I can't remember what
that
they
I'm
are.
not sure
Yes.
of.
I think they are, yes. I've
So-
been by their stadium bunches of times, and I think they're the Yellow Jackets.
Okay, so Auburn up by 10 at the half. We'll see what happens there at Rupp Arena. And as George mentioned, Clemson not looking good at all.
They're in deep doo-doo.
They've got 11 points with just under 5 minutes to play. McNeese and Will Wade up 25-11, just under 5 to play there in the Midwest region. So those are the two going on right now. VCU and BYU getting set to tip off. Georgia and Gonzaga coming up. As George mentioned, we got Tennessee and Wofford around 6 o'clock, Arkansas and Kansas, Yale and Texas A&M, Drake, Missouri. We've got 5 straight SEC games in a row here tonight. Utah State and UCLA, Omaha and St. John's, UC San Diego and Michigan, and then UNC Wilmington and Texas Tech. We do have now 4 finals to report. Creighton beats Louisville 89-75, and that was not particularly close.
So much for the home court theory.
Yeah, and Rain Smith, one of their better shooters, got hurt. So Creighton gets the win there. Purdue beats High Point 75-63. That was the closest upset bid so far.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like High Point was ever going to win that one. Wisconsin beats Montana 85-66, and Houston wallops SIUE 78-40.
So I'm going to bring it up, and I know it's not going to be real popular here, and I feel bad for what I'm about to say. The fact that West Virginia got left out of this tournament for SIU Edwardsville, what a joke. It is seriously time for the NCAA to do some rethinking of whether the Ohio Valley Conference deserves an automatic bid. Once Belmont and Murray got out of that league, from a basketball standpoint, has become a joke. It really has. And if that's the top of that conference, now don't get me wrong, Houston's really good. Do I think they're national title good? No, I don't. But the performance today by SIU Edwardsville, this has been a trend now going on for a while, where the OVC in the past used to be pretty competitive with their champion depending on matchups. It's been a long time since the OVC has scared anybody.
They didn't belong on the same floor.
Oh, good Lord. You could have gotten a team out of the Green Hills. Why? That performance today, that game set hoops back about 10 years.
That was awful.
Do you think that's one of the rule? Do you think that'll be a rule change in the years to come to look at certain conferences and to see, hey, do they stack up where we need to be? Just giving them an automatic bid. Do we change that rule?
Well, it's not the first time that one of the smaller leagues has gotten pummeled. But I think if you were to look through the last 5 years of OVC basketball and how they have done in the tournament, it's not real good. Yeah. And this performance today, Houston basically was bored out of their mind. SIU Edwardsville went 11 minutes in the second half without a field goal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we've got right now. We did have 2 last night. Mount St. Mary's beat American 83-72. So now Mount St. Mary's will advance to play Duke tomorrow. Xavier beat Texas, which was a great game last night, 86-80. And all of a sudden, Rodney Terry now is no longer the coach.
Well, now, who told you yesterday that was coming?
Somebody did.
Yes.
Did they fire him today? Did they fire him?
Well, according to Chip Brown, who we've had on our show of Horns 24/7, he says Texas will let go of Rodney Terry after 3 seasons. Sources close to the situation.
Now, on one hand, they're a little late to the party as far as looking for a coach. but I think Texas can do a whole lot better. There are too many games this year where they take a lead into the final 10 minutes of a game and absolutely collapse.
Yeah,
They did it.
That game was a microcosm.
Yeah, they did it in February against Vandy at Memorial Gym. Up double digits, lose.
Yep.
Same thing last night. I just think that staff did absolutely nothing to help those kids.
No, and they got talent. They got a lot of
they've
talent.
got some talent.
But Sean Miller and Xavier get it done last night, so they get the win. Xavier will play Illinois.
By the way, do not be shocked when Sean Miller's name gets in there, because
it's a good coach. Yeah,
they came very close to hiring him a couple of years ago.
Well, that's been a talking point.
At Texas?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that was last night. We do have another college basketball note. Duke's Cooper Flagg said he is pain-free after his ankle injury in the ACC tournament. He expects to be fully healthy for Duke's game against Mount St. Mary's tomorrow. So, which, do you find that hard to believe that he pain-free 100%?
Look,
I mean, that was a bad ankle sprain.
But I don't pretend to know. I mean, his recuperative powers are probably a little better than yours.
Yeah, that's true.
Kelly, I'm shocked you didn't have more comment on that.
Adrian Peterson had something go on with his knee. I think it was an MCL sprain or something. And the trainer, I can remember the trainer, like he was doing things in 2 weeks. And he was like, it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't think he had a procedure, but like he was back on the field in 2 weeks. It was crazy.
Yeah.
At the high school level, Ensworth Jr. Jonathan Sanderson was named Tennessee Gatorade Player of the Year after leading the Tigers to the Division II AA state semifinals. He averaged 24 points per game in his first season in the state of Tennessee after moving in from Michigan.
This is the big kid.
No, he's about 6'3", the big kid. His last name is Salongo. He's a stud too, but they both came over together as a package deal. And he's the son. Sanderson is the son of Vandy's strength and conditioning coach for basketball, John Sanderson. So he wins Gatorade Player of the Year. Had a lot of talent in the state. Kelly, I don't know if you got to watch any of Briarcrest. I don't know when you were down there, but they got a guy, Fred Smith Jr., who's really good. Lipscomb Academy has a guy, Cam Blevins, who is really good as well. So there's a ton of talent in the state. I know that that team you saw, Kelly, Providence Christian Academy, has some real talent as well.
They could be, I believe, any classification in the state of Tennessee. Had that conversation last night, Kelly, with your son-in-law, and admittedly, look, I'm biased. They beat BGA, and they had to struggle to do it. BGA was up 1 at the end of 3 quarters, but they've got a front line that any college would love to have. By the way, McNeese State, 29-11.
Wow.
Can you say the Fighting Will Wades?
Glad I picked that one.
Billy called it yesterday. That was his upset.
Yeah. I'm glad I did that.
I wish you'd give me one of those.
In college football, who would have guessed it? Another Georgia receiver in trouble on the road. Georgia wide receiver Nitro Tuggle is his name. He was arrested on charges of reckless driving in addition to speeding. I don't know. I mean, I guess we're going to have another offseason filled with this, with Georgia.
They seem to have a problem with NASCAR. Their NASCAR package seems to get them in more trouble than most schools.
A Nitro, what the perfect name for it is. That's nice, Nitro.
So what is it? What is it he got nailed for?
Reckless driving and speeding.
I mean, was he going 42 and a 25?
I didn't look that deep into it.
I would say he would be going, he'd probably be going, kind of up there on 65.
I wouldn't want to speculate.
Right.
No.
I don't want to speculate like Billy does, but I mean, I can see that. Being a young man, being in those shoes before, you do things that are kind of stupid sometimes, but it's happening an awful lot at Georgia.
In the MLB, Alex Verdugo has agreed to a one-year deal with the Braves worth $1.5 million.
That is a steal. First of all, Verdugo at this point, I think you can make the claim, is better than Jared Kelenic. Kelenic, the Braves have spent a ton of money on a 230 hitter. And to get basically, this is where their waiting game has paid off, because Verdugo should be way better than $1.5 million. But he was at the end of the free agency rope and apparently couldn't find a deal.
More depth for the Braves. Also in the NBA, a group led by Bill Chisholm, who is a managing partner at Symphony Technology Group, has purchased the Celtics for $6.1 billion. That surpasses the $6.05 billion price to buy the Commanders a couple of years ago.
Wow, that is crazy.
Wow.
I remember when Donald Sterling was forced to sell the Clippers, and it got over $2 billion, and everybody was just stunned.
And now we're up at
10
6.
years later, we're up at 6. My goodness. Speaking of my goodness, 31-13 McNeese. They are the Cowboys, and they're taking Clemson behind the woodshed. The winner of that game gets Purdue.
And if McNeese looks like they're going to win, I would bet on them to beat Purdue at this pace.
Well, boy, you've really gone out on a limb.
Would you really, Billy?
Well, I mean, that's not Purdue just beat a lot of people.
You're saying to beat Purdue. I thought you said to beat.
No, I'm saying Purdue's, I would pick them to beat Purdue as well.
That's a good one. That's a good. If you're gonna.
I mean, this is your classic higher seed, stays hot, keeps winning. And Will Wade, the question was, does he have his guys motivated and on the right path, despite him, taking the NC State job? It's the opposite,
But a caller brought up a good point yesterday. The odds are that most of those kids are going with it.
I actually brought.
Well,
I brought that up.
I don't want to give you credit.
Hey, do you hang that over their head, saying, "Hey, if y'all play and give me effort and we play well, I'm taking you with me"? That's a good incentive.
Kelly, that's a really good question. Who knows in this day and age what motivational tactics are being used? I mean, there's no telling.
He's been on the cusp, Will Wade has, with these McNeese teams of pulling off upsets. This would be his first, if I'm not mistaken, at McNeese.
They got in a year ago?
I think they did. He's been in it with McNeese. I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. They came close, but I don't think they got it done.
The other game that's going on right now, BYU with an early 11-10 lead on VCU. So I would describe so far what's going on today as not riveting. Would you go with that?
There hasn't been that huge early, like last year. I think we had a big early upset. Maybe tomorrow's that day, but yeah, it's been pretty chalky.
Now it looks like we're going to get a 12 to beat a 5, and
but do we get a
flurry of them?
No. Do we get a 14 over a 3, or do we get a higher one? Because the mid majors are not. We were talking about it, how mid majors may not be getting those upsets anymore as often as they were, just because of
Greeny's sheet of integrity. I'm looking at who the 14s are. Troy is a 14 against Kentucky, and UNC Wilmington is a 14 against Texas Tech.
Well, that comes a 14 too against Iowa State.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know where it could come. A lot of those higher seeds, you don't. It's unpredictable on which it's somebody you wouldn't have guessed to pull it off.
Well, there was a day in time. We're going back toward the mid '80s when ESPN had the first 2 days where the number of upsets, the Richmonds over Indiana, the Coppin States over South Carolina. I mean, there were some massive upsets.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It doesn't feel like the little guy, other than McNeese State. I mean, really, High Point's the only one that was remotely competitive. SIUE might as well have stopped at the Green Hills Y. They were completely useless.
That was bad.
That game set NCAA tournament play back about 10 years. It was embarrassing. And I hate feeling this way because, look, this is not Beth DeBush's fault, the commissioner of the OVC. Once Belmont and Murray made the decision to bolt, the OVC was left with just a pile of kindling wood.
Well, I was watching. I mean, how bad was that league for that team, that SIUE team? I know it's Houston. They're playing a 1 seed, but still. Alabama State, they were down by 10 at the half.
Yeah, they were within 1 at 32-31. SIUE, the minute the anthem was over, it was toast.
Yeah, that was non-competitive.
Okay, after the break, we're going to get a preview of tonight's Arkansas-Kansas game. Am I right? Give me the name again.
Ty Richardson
will join us, and he is with
ESPN Arkansas.
Okay, beautiful. It'll be interesting to see Calipari with maybe the chance to play Rick Pitino on Saturday, but they got to win first. So those of you in the Hermitage area, I hope you'll stop in. This is a really nice place to watch games. JB's Poorhouse at 4770 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage. You're listening to 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donley Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donley have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Ready to play hooky from work and watch some basketball?
And you didn't think I'd make any money.
Join us from 9 to 6 this Friday at Boomba's Pizza and Watch Bar in Spring Hill at 2044 Crossings Boulevard. Watch some games and don't worry about work.
The plant called and said if you don't come in tomorrow, don't bother coming in Monday.
You might want to let your boss know first.
Woohoo! 4-day weekend.
Join us at Boomba's in Spring Hill. Eat, drink, watch. Your sports live here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, one note before we head up to Providence, and that is that Clemson is in deep you-know-what at halftime, down 18 to McNeese State.
They set a new NCAA tournament record for fewest points in the first half. The previous record was set by Michigan in 2019 with 16 points.
Well, that's something to be proud of. Wow.
That's how bad that was.
Got to hit shots, man.
I mean, Brad Brownell, the job he's done at Clemson, this team, you know, they beat Duke earlier this year. I mean, they have not been just, chump change. And so this is a surprise. Maybe not that McNeese State is competitive, but blowing out Clemson, big surprise. Okay, let's go up to Providence. Arkansas tonight gets the Kansas Jayhawks. The good news is this is not the normal level of Kansas Jayhawks that you're used to. Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas is on the line with us. Ty, how you doing?
George, I'm good. I was telling Billy last night, I used to live in Nashville. One of the first radio names I heard was George Plaster, and so it's kind of a momentous occasion for me to go on your show, so I appreciate you having me on this afternoon.
Well, you're really nice to say that. Where'd you go to high school?
Man, I'm an Arkansas guy. I went to Little Rock Christian, but I worked at Nashville a year out of college, loved it, go back 3 or 4 times a year. It's one of the best cities in the world, George, and I know you've been on radio for decades, and it's just pretty cool being on here with you.
Did you hear that, Kelly?
Yeah, it's making me I'm sorry, Ty, but you're making me throw up in my mouth, man. I'm sorry.
So, Ty, when
you always butter the host up. If you're a guest, first-time guest, you always butter them up so he invites you back on. So that's just what I'm trying to do right now.
I love it. Listen, it's a guarantee. We want you back on. So, last we saw Arkansas, they looked like the tank was on empty, having to use only 7 players in the SEC tournament in a deal where to win it, they would have had to win 5 games in 5 days. You knew they couldn't do that. Now they get the news that Boogie Fland is going to play tonight. Ty, is there a minute's restriction on him? What do you think is fair to expect out of him?
George, I think about 15 minutes. And I think the way you characterize Arkansas there is accurate. You just knew it wasn't going to be a lot of games. They played Nashville. If they got the Friday, it would be an accomplishment, but Sean Padula ended that Friday afternoon. So I think I expect him to play about 15 minutes, come off the bench, spell DJ Wagner for some minutes. But I mean, I don't think he's going to get anywhere near a double-double. You got to remember, this is a true freshman playing his first NCAA tournament game, coming off double-digit games not played. So if I was an Arkansas fan, I wouldn't have my expectations high heading into tonight's matchup later on against Kansas.
Ty, take me back to that night at Rupp Arena where it was just incredibly electric. Having been to Rupp any number of times, when it gets like that, it feels like the Christians versus the Lions. And it was at that point where Arkansas started to make the statement, hey, we're not done yet. What do you think caused it?
I think the players truly believe in their head coach, Sean Calipari. And George, you've seen it showcase that way throughout the last 7 or 8 games. They played out of their minds. And that's why you kind of expected them to be placed in Lexington for the NCAA tournament. It didn't happen. They're here in Providence, where I am right now. But I think it was a culmination of their battling for their coach. They knew how emotional that was going to be for him. But I mean, not just him. You think about DJ Wagner and Deuce Zero and Big Z, who all had really good games. I mean, they're used to playing in that gym. And it sure looked like it that Saturday night in Rupp.
Speaking of which, man, the big guy, Z, he is so improved off of what he could do at Kentucky. Ty, that's really impressive how much he's been able to step his game up.
Yeah, and George is coming off an injury at times, and honestly, he and a lot of other guys, not just Boogie, but a dude that they just dealt with things all season long. Now he's got a challenge tonight, as does Jonas Adu and Trevor Brazil. I mean, Hunter Dickinson's no joke. He's one of the best post players and front court guys in college basketball. But your point about Z is well made. You look at what he was in Lexington as just kind of a flair guy. And at times he's been their number one option this year. So he has definitely improved. Struggled a little bit lately. Cal and the rest of the coaching staff hoping he gets going a little bit later on tonight.
So is it as simple tonight as, hey, if Jonas Adu can keep Hunter Dickinson from going crazy, you hold him below 20, don't you like your chances?
No question. Kansas has been just inexplicably bad for Bill Self standards. This is the worst seed that he's had since taking over in Lawrence. That team is – sometimes they've shot the ball well. I know Zeke Mayo's played a lot better at home than he has on the road. But, yeah, if Dickinson's under 20 points, and as long as Harris, Mayo, and Griffin and some of the other guys aren't knocking down a gajillion threes, then I do like Arkansas's chances tonight. Now, they've got to hit some shots of their own because they go on these dry spells where it seems like 5 or so minutes they go without a field goal. But yeah, that's you got to stop Dickinson down low, and then hopefully the rest of itself works itself out against these Jayhawks tonight.
Do this for me, because we all talk about it. When Calipari made the move, the belief is that between, Tyson and Tyson Chicken and Walmart, that he's got unlimited resources and that this is just the beginning of it. Is unlimited resources close to accurate?
George, I think it's, in terms of limitations in college basketball, it's seems like it's far superior to anyone else. So it's a combination of, you mentioned John Tyson, and then also Warren Stevens of Stevens Inc. Those are two of really the guys that help get John Calipari to campus. And then there's other, I would guess, benefactors that stepped up in big ways. I know the Hunt family has been involved heavily. Walmart is honestly not as involved as you would think they'd be, being where their location is in Bentonville, Arkansas. They've actually focused a lot of their efforts on things outside of sport that they give, no question, but maybe not to the extent that some people speculate. But George, I think your assessment is accurate. Like unless everyone who follows college basketball and has inside sources is wrong, Arkansas had the highest NIL budget. And especially if Cal can go on a run here, the expectation is, hey, let's give this guy more to do next year, because they went with 9 guys this year. I don't expect John Calipari to just limit his roster to 9 really heavy scholarship guys heading into 2025, 2026.
Ty, I want to ask one last thing before I turn it to Kelly Holcomb. It's still a mystery to me why Eric Musselman would bolt for USC. If you said UCLA, maybe I could understand it, but there's no reason to believe you can be a national power in basketball at USC where you know you can be at Arkansas. Nolan Richardson proved that. So why did he bolt?
George, I think it was a falling out with certain higher ups. Musselman wears on you. He is a tremendous basketball coach, but there's a reason he cycles through assistants like I cycle through pizzas each and every week. I mean, this guy's just really difficult to work for. And that can be good if there's – I mean, the better way to phrase it is you can overlook that if there's winning, which there was 3 straight Sweet 16s, 2 Elite Eights, and that's fine. But then they don't make the tournament a season ago, and things just didn't look good. His mom is also, unless something's changed, she's still out in San Diego. That's where he likes to be. He talks about surfing. But you're right on the USC. Like, USC is not a premier program. I can only think of a handful of players that have ever played there. And now you have to deal with the Big Ten travel. So I think it was a culmination of a bunch of things. But it was probably better for both parties that it ended this way, because it could have ended even worse if things had maybe been drawn out a little bit longer.
Kelly?
All right, so I'm gonna go back through some things, but with Calipari being there with this first year, what are the people in Fayetteville saying? Are they liking what they see? Obviously, he started off slow this year, but and everybody talks about that and talk about, well, I mean, do we like him? Don't we? Everything is such. It's on success and it's on instant gratification, and sometimes it takes coaches a while to get their system in place. But what kind of grade do you give Coach Calipari this year? I mean, he's he started off slow, but he's got these guys playing better. They obviously they did get beat by South Carolina, but they're in the tournament and maybe they can make a run. What is everybody down there saying about him?
I guess we got Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Predators, Titans fans listening. And think of your most hated coach, like the coach you despise the most. All of a sudden, he's your coach. You don't know what to do. It's a weird feeling at first. And for 15 plus years between Lexington and Memphis, and you can even throw UMass in there because they knocked out Arkansas in '96. Arkansas fans hated John Calipari. And then all of a sudden, he's your coach. The aura and everything that goes with him, you're still trying to get used to that. 0-5 starting conference. It's rough initially. Guys are going down with injuries. And then he just salvages the season. Guys stick it out. They gut it out. And now you have an opportunity to play a Hall of Fame coach tonight. If you win, likely a Hall of Fame coach on Saturday, who, by the way, those two hate each other. So it'd be a pretty epic game, I would think. But I think fans are really encouraged how his team persevered, even though in a lot of situations you felt like they could have given up. So Kelly, initially they're happy. Now they lose tonight, maybe they have a different opinion, but right now they're very confident against this game against the Jayhawks later on.
How much has John L. Davis meant to the program? Because he's obviously been around. He's a grad student. He went to the Final Four with FAU. He's a really good player. How much has his leadership helped this group?
Kelly, what I've been most impressed with about John L. is he hasn't shot the ball that great this year. He's had some games where he scored 15, 18 points and knocked down some threes. But when you look at his numbers in Fayetteville versus in Boca, they're a lot different. And I think you look at what he does on the other side of the basketball, defensive rebounding, playing defense, on ball. I mean, some guys, they lose their grit. They lose their toughness when the shot's not going in. He doesn't. And I think the younger players have watched that. They're like, okay, even if I'm not making shots, I've got to play defense in order to help my team win. And I think that's been the most impressive thing about him. But this is his time. You referenced his FAU days. I mean, he was the big catalyst for the Owls to get to that Final Four. So I think Arkansas fans are hoping he takes into another gear like he did with FAU.
Is there anything talking with Coach Calipari and with all the media things that have happened, is there anything that concerns him about this team? Because if you look at this Kansas team, George even talked about it earlier, but they're kind of guard depleted. They don't have the Bill Self kind of team that they normally have. They have Hunter Dickinson, and he's averaging 16 points a game. But is there anything that concerns you or concerns Calipari about this Kansas team? Because it's certainly not the Kansas team that we've expected over the years.
I think one of the things he referenced is just how little that preseason game meant. He doesn't want to have his team overconfident heading into tonight. You mentioned that Kansas not being a typical Kansas team. Like DeJuan Harris hasn't played good this year, being the veteran player he is. I mean, you think about Kansas, you think about incredible guards over the years. I think about like Wayne Selden, Devontae Graham, and others, and they just simply don't have that guy. I mean, Harris is a really good college basketball player. He's just had a down year. So I think the most concerning thing is for John Calipari is just it's the fear of the unknown. I mean, this Kansas team has been up, they've been down. They started the season, I think, 7-0 with wins against Duke, Michigan State, and others. And now they are where they are at a 7 seed. So he knows what this team is capable of. I think Kelly's just been trying to instruct his players over and over. It's like, don't think it's going to go like it did at Bud Walton, because they didn't have Hunter Dickinson then. I think that's the biggest change now. If you slow him down, Arkansas is going to end up winning. If you don't, it's Rock Chalk Jayhawk tonight.
So Hunter Dickinson's kind of the guy, and you put 3 guys on him. You put Adu, you put Big Z on him, you put the Brazil kid, and the Brazil kid seems like he's been playing better in the last 4 games. He's averaging 14 points a game and 10 rebounds per game. So 3 against 1, I think that certainly helps Arkansas.
Yeah, and you can rotate a little bit. Now, Cal pulled Big Z in the Ole Miss game. Well, I think I played like 18 minutes just because he was frustrated with him. So Arkansas, you might see him go small tonight, especially with Boogie inserted back in there. He'll be one of the smaller guards on the floor later on. But that rotation, they're hoping they can slow down. And I think with Big Z, it's like you pull Dickinson out. Like Dickinson's he can't just sit in the lane if he's guarding Big Z. Big Z has such a lethal 3-pointer at times that you're going to make him have to come out. And that opens up the lane for Knox, Richmond, Flan, Wagner, and others to get to the cup, guys.
Yeah, and my last thing. Sorry, Billy, but my last thing is Boogie Flan. Like, he hasn't played in a while. What do you see with tonight? I mean, has Coach Calipari talked about how he's going to use him, or will it just be the flow of the game?
It sure sounds like 15, maybe 20 minutes. He also alluded to yesterday that his hand was bothering him. And if you're an Arkansas fan, that's a little concerning. It's like this guy's coming off that UCL, the thumb injury, and had the surgery, and you're just hoping he can shoot it, because I mean, on a basketball court, I know there's defense, I know there's rebound, I know there's intangibles, but that's what you need Boogie for at times tonight. So I think I would be shocked if he cleared 20 plus minutes. I think he's probably about 15 to 17 tonight. And you're just hoping. The other thing, George, you brought up just the number of players earlier. That's 5 more fouls. Like, Kansas is going to try and get Arkansas in foul trouble early, and you at least have a guy from a minutes and a foul sake to add 5 more to that total tonight.
We hinted at, and I appreciate you hopping on, we hinted at the potential matchup of Arkansas and St. John's in Providence. So there will obviously be a ton of St. John's fans. I'm interested, how many Arkansas fans have made the trip, and how much of a shot would you give the Hogs? I know they still got to beat Kansas first, but would you give them a fighting chance basically in a road game, you would expect?
Yeah, the interesting thing being St. John's and the Providence connection that Rick Pitino has coaching Billy Donovan and spending some time here, there's obviously going to be more St. John's fans, but I mean, Arkansas fans have traveled from what I've seen. I rode with some of them on the plane from Chicago. You've seen just walking around town and whatnot. But it's kind of like, Nashville, and that's where you guys are based, obviously, but you see so many fan bases. I know Big Blue Nation pollutes the town for a little bit. I don't think we can disagree on that, but you've got just a collection of fan bases that I think I've seen every fan base thus far. McNeese, Clemson, Purdue, High Point, Arkansas, St. John's, even seen some Omaha hats around here, any Kansas fans. So I think it's a pretty good collection tonight. And based on the crowd that I was listening to and the game that you guys referenced from the top of the interview, I think it's going to be a pretty raucous atmosphere later on tonight.
It won't be at Clemson. They're down 24.
Oh, geez, man, that's worse than where we started.
40-16. Ty, sorry to break that one on you, but first of all, thank you for taking the time. Come on back to Nashville anytime. You are always welcome.
Thanks, George. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Ty Richardson joining us to talk Hogs, calling the Hogs with ESPN Arkansas. After the break, we'll get you another March Madness scoreboard update. We got plenty more coming from JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket.
The Predators win!
Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. 292-3400. JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage has one of the best sports bar setups around, and it'll play host to the George Plaster Show on Thursday, March the 20th. That's the first full day of March Madness. Large TVs, great hoops, terrific food, and friendly service. It's what JB's Poorhouse is all about. See you on March 20th for a day full of what I call adult spring break.
Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
This is such a great time of the year. You know, I've always used the adult spring break deal. Whatever the case, we've got a scoreboard update for you, March Madness style. Here's Billy Derrick.
This update brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. Coming up next season, next basketball season at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets going quick. There's only about 200 left. You can get them if you want them. It's going to be a packed house at Bridgestone, bridgestonearena.com, and on the Ticketmaster app, we take a look at the latest going on right now. Auburn has pulled away from Alabama State. They lead 68-47 with just under 8 minutes to play in that one. McNeese, 40. Clemson, 18.
Woo-hoo. Hello. Boy.
Second half.
That doesn't look good for the ACC.
No, Clemson was right behind Duke in the ACC as the second-best team, and then Louisville, who got walloped by Creighton earlier today. So we're being proven right that the ACC was awful.
There's one going on that doesn't make the SEC look very good either.
No, Gonzaga all over Georgia, 15-3, 6 minutes into that one. That's a little nervy for Vandy fans, I think, because obviously Vandy playing St. Mary's, West Coast team.
So
we'll see.
You've already gotten Texas knocked out, which appeared to be the last of the SEC teams. Georgia is now down 18-3 to Gonzaga. And, somewhere in there, they and Vandy were kind of teams 12 and 13. So, yeah, it is a little concerning. Anyway, I know I butted in.
BYU leads VCU 33-26 with 2:20 to play in the first half. In that one, some finals: Houston over SIUE 78-40, Wisconsin over Montana 85-66. Purdue beats High Point despite some scary moments there in the second half. They beat the Panthers 75-63. Creighton over Louisville, as we mentioned, 89-75. And of course, we've got 5 straight SEC games, starting with this Georgia game, despite the Bulldogs struggling. Tennessee and Wofford around 6 o'clock. Arkansas and Kansas, Yale and A&M, Drake and Missouri. And then you've got Utah State and UCLA and a slew of other games tonight as well. But that's what we've got.
Yeah, Kelly, this is what we know. A lot of the people that are in here have snuck out of work.
There's no doubt, man. I wish they would do some stats on when people just check out during March Madness.
Productivity at an all-time low.
All-time low.
I'll say this. It's different given what we do for a living. It's okay to do your head and go, oh, what's going on over there? But I do feel sorry for people who are not able to watch on Thursday and Friday, who have to fake it, and act like they're working and sneak around. And, that sort of sucks.
Do y'all have, would y'all watch during school? Like, do you remember? Because I remember I had a teacher or two that would throw it on the projector for a class. Yeah. And then, but you always talk about roll the TV in and they'd show it. But if you had a couple cool teachers, it was a better March Madness during school.
Billy, here's the history lesson. Honestly, when I was in school, there was no Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon. It was a 16-team tournament at that point, and it all started at night.
Yeah.
For instance, I saw Danny Ainge in the BYU game a few minutes ago, and of course, Danny Ainge has one of the most memorable NCAA moments, a coast-to-coast for a layup in the final, 4 or 5 seconds that beat Notre Dame down at the Omni in Atlanta night game. They're at that point, I want to say it was mid-'80s that they started to go, well, when they expanded to 64, that's kind of when it started.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, too, because I can remember being in Fayetteville City Junior High and going in, and our coach who coached basketball, football, all that, you go into the gym class, he would let us watch the SEC tournament all the time. So this stuff has been around for a while, man. It's exciting. Everybody wants to see it. And, hey, ESPN, all these networks, TBS, True TV, they've gotten involved in it because it's making them money.
And I would love to know, like, coaches that have won a lot in March, whether it's Izzo, Patino, some of these West Coast guys, Krzyzewski, like, is there a recipe? How do you get your guys to not be tight, play loose, play free, have fun, enjoy the moment? And you've got to have experience as a coach, but I would love to sit down and say, all right, what are the three key things you've got to do in March in this tournament?
Okay, bring that up to Lee and Coach B later. College basketball insiders during the 4:00 hour. One thing that sort of strikes me.
By the way, this Georgia thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's 25-3. Good God.
3 points, 8 minutes into the game.
Come on, Georgia.
Sorry.
What in the world? Anyway.
They puckered up.
Buttercup. So it seems to me that some of your best teams that end up 1 and 2 seeds, they're able to get their feet on the ground with kind of a cupcake early.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that helps ease the nerves so that when they get into game 2, they've gotten past that part where the team that's the 8 or 9 seed, the minute that game starts, every possession feels like World War III.
Right.
See, but that's what's happening right now with Clemson. Like you talked about it yesterday, George. Clemson has puckered up because they were expected. Like you're a 5 seed, you're expected to go in and roll over McNeese State, and now you've come out. You're not playing well. You've come out flat. You're not hitting shots. Now everything is getting tighter as the game goes on, and you're starting to try too hard. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Okay, we're going to go to the break. Then we'll get stat of the day, and then the college basketball insiders, Ron Bargatze and Lee Fowler from JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for a reason to skip work and watch hoops? We got you. Bueller. Join us from 9 to 6 today at Boomba's Pizza and Watch Bar in Murfreesboro, 2839 Medical Center Parkway. Watch some games and don't worry about work.
Yeah, that sounds like a swing shindig.
You might want to let your boss know first. Work! Join us at Boomba's in Murfreesboro. Eat, drink, watch. Your sports live here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Hey, folks, Big Joe here again from my friends at Busy Bee, and this time we're talking rebates. Not only from Busy Bee, but the TVA rebates as well. Like when you purchase the mini split, that's $800. The duct ceiling repair, that's $300. And maintenance tune-up, $50 for each maintenance visit. Also, free dryer vent cleaning, that's a $250 value with purchase of a mid-grade package and above air duct cleaning. The best part, they file the rebates for you. Their in-house team does all the work, so you don't have to. Busy Bee, simply the best. Online, BusyBeeHVAC.com.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale.
Which factory? From where?
Family Leisure has truckloads of new model merchandise from all their factories arriving daily.
Really? Like what?
Well, spas for one. All the new model spas are here and on sale from Artesian, Catalina, and American Select Spas, as low as $29.99.
Okay.
Family Leisure is getting all their new patio furniture styles. Hanneman, Tropitone, and Woodard are on sale. And there are still a lot of floor models left to sell at ridiculous prices. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Now, that's interesting.
Family Leisure has factory direct pricing on pools. 24-foot pools starting as low as $29.99 installed. And solid wood slate pool tables are only $19.99 as well.
That means the grills, smokers, and grill islands are on sale too.
Of course. Family Leisure even has the huge Diamond Point Play system for only $24.99 installed.
Even the massage chairs, theater seating are on sale.
That's right. That's Family Leisure's factory direct sale going on now.
Both locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Coming up, we're talking with Lee Fowler and Ron Bargatze, the college basketball insiders, as we broadcast live here at JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage. It's time, though, for Stat of the Day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. They got a location just right across the street from us out here in Hermitage. They got one, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754 9800 or log on to applecollisioncenters.com. All right. Here's where we're going today. Louisville. I forgot to change this, but Louisville actually lost today against Creighton. But who was the last Louisville coach to win a March Madness game?
George, you've been hot house.
It's either Tricky Ricky or Chris Mack. I'm going to say it's Chris Mack because I just don't remember.
So
I gotta say Chris Mack too.
Let's go Mack.
It is Tricky Ricky.
Oh yes.
2017.
I was gonna say Denny Crum, but you know.
Denny Crum.
I hope at some point in the tournament that Rick brings out that Colonel Sanders suit.
I saw an interview. I don't think he's going to.
No, I think he should.
He needs to bring it out against Calipari if he plays him.
By the way, even Ty Richardson said it. They hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good sportsmanship. We are at JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage at 4770 Lebanon Pike. Let me give you some specifics that they have given me. 36 beers on tap. Behind me are 30 high-definition TVs. The food has been great. We've tried it out. Here's some specials. 75-cent wings all day long, $1 off on drafts until 7 p.m., and double pour on well liquor until 7 o'clock. Okay, so we're officially into the 4 o'clock hour from JB's Poorhouse, and we say hello to the college basketball insiders. There is the Nashville legend, Ron Bargatze. Coach B working hard to become part of the Nate Bargatze train. Coach B, how's that going?
Yeah, you can get Nate or I are going to be on Fallon tonight, so if you want to tune in.
So he's going to be on Fallon.
Again, I think about the 9th or 10th time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. And, of course, the former athletic director at NC State, my former color announcer at Memphis State, and the head of the NCAA selection committee going back into the early 2000s. Lee Fowler joins us. Lee, any of your people on Fallon tonight?
No, the only person I know on Fallon is Nate Bargatze.
That's good enough.
Wow.
That's good enough.
Okay, so, Lee, I'm going to start with you, and I'll admit I'm going to be ugly. So get ready. After watching SIU Edwardsville today, it has become painfully apparent that the OVC no longer deserves an automatic bid into the tournament. SIU Edwardsville might as well have been the Green Hills Y 4-on-4 run and shoot. Now, don't get me wrong, Houston is a very good basketball team, but that game set hoops back a long ways. It's been a long time since the OVC has played a competitive game in the NCAA tournament. What is the mechanism that ultimately decides whether a conference gets automatic bids or not?
Well, if you have 6 teams or more that have been together for a length of time, then you get an automatic bid. There are 31 of them now, and as you know, the Ivy League decided to use their tournament this year to get their team in instead of during the regular season. But, I like it because it gives everybody a chance to play in the tournament when the conference tournaments start. And Houston can make a lot of teams. If they score, they can make a lot of teams look poor. And it was a mismatch, there's no question, but that doesn't mean it will be next year. And I always like to wait to the end because Houston may do that to a few other teams before this is over.
No, and I want to be fair about it, but let's be honest. Once Murray State and Belmont left that league, it's been left for roadkill. And it's not Beth DeBush's fault. She has cobbled together as best she could, but it's been a long time since they have been competitive in a game in this tournament, much less win one.
Yeah, and it's tough. Beth does a wonderful job, and I think more importantly, we'll just have to see. This transfer thing is killing schools like those schools. And if you're on the bottom of the conferences and you're getting kids taken away, you got to remember Auburn's got a Morehead State guy playing for them, and he happens to be the best player in the country. But I just think it's got to level out at some point, because the more money the big schools spend on these 8 to 9 players on their team is probably going to create more and more separation.
Coach B, let's go to the rumor mill and what we know and what we think we know. Yesterday, I said it on the air that if Texas got beat in the deal in Dayton, that I thought Rodney Terry was toast. It appears that's the case, that he is going to be fired at Texas, even though they're late to the party compared to some of the other schools that have been looking. What do you think is Texas's possibilities of really grabbing a big name?
Well, I think if you consider Texas as a destination, I think that the field is wide open, because a lot of people would give their eye tooth to be a part of the of that organization. That's, if you haven't been to Texas or Texas A&M, you don't really know what facilities are. They set the high water mark for facilities, money, and that would include an NIL fund. So, pretty good job.
Coach B, in trying to be fair, when I've watched Texas this year, there had been a series of meltdowns in the second half. One of them happened in early February at Memorial Gym, where they had a double-digit lead and blew it. Is that coaching?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Coaches are heroes when they win and are stumbling blocks when they lose. So I don't know. That's a tough one. But you do not feel like, in watching Texas, that they are a well-oiled machine. And it appears to me that there might be better choices for them out there in terms of hiring their next coach.
Please tell Jimmy Fallon, look, we're busy on the air. We haven't got time.
He's wanting an early Nate story to introduce him with tonight, and I've told him already, I'm not getting involved. The family jewel is a part of this whole thing. Not giving up the jewels.
Did you tell him you've been kicked out of the house and you've got to go sit in the sunroom? Did you tell him that?
Hey, you get kicked out of the sunroom to go to the house.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, Lee, let's turn to you on the NC State thing, because it looks like it may get delayed a couple of days, that Will Wade is going there. It's a rumor that's been out there for close to a month. And so when I see all these people in the last couple of days, we're the first to report it. Please, this has been out there for a good while. You know the dynamic of trying to compete in between Carolina and Duke. Is he the right guy to do this?
Well, I'm not sure, George. I think that they kind of the internet locked in on him, and have been really wearing out everybody at NC State that he's the guy we got to have. And it's kind of funny if he wins a few games, Texas may get involved. I mean, I don't know how solid that's gotten, but I've seen things spin and change in a heartbeat. So I'm not so sure that State wouldn't rather him lose and go ahead and get the deal done if that's him. I also heard young Richard Pitino is another person that they are interested in. They definitely want to hire a head coach, and that's no inside information. That's just from fans over there that seem to think that letting me know things is important. But I'm not sure that anybody can say they can year in and year out overcome North Carolina and Duke. They have quite a past and a history and have a lot of money. And so I think that it'll be interesting if and when he wins this game, and whether he wins another game, whether you're starting to put a week between he and the job. you may not end up with him, because I've been in situations where I think I told we had a coach hired, had his jacket size, and some of our fans wrote him on the internet and told him they didn't want him, and so he backed out. So I mean, it's a crazy world out there. There's a lot of money involved, and the people that are pushing the envelopes don't always know what's best for the program. I'll say it that way.
Okay, so let me try it this way, because you have sat in the seat of trying to figure out what's the way to combat these two superpowers. The guys that have had success at NC State, and obviously we're going back to Valvano. Keats made the run a year ago to the Final Four. What's the common denominator of success there?
Well, I mean, it's really been teams that weren't real good during the year and then catch on fire and emotionally have won games. Herb Sendek probably had the best overall record. While he was there after his first 2 years, he was third in the league in ACC wins, ahead of Gary Williams the same years. So, it's all about beating Duke and Carolina and winning a national championship, because State has won 2 national championships. So they feel like that they're at the same level and should be. And so, that's always pushing them and always driving them. And that's not bad, because you have plenty of people that are interested in the program, but it's a real short leash to having time to build something like they want to build.
Coach B, let's go to the Virginia job. It appears that the Cavaliers have settled on Ryan Odom at VCU, who's down 11 right now at the half against BYU. The story that's starting to come out of Charlottesville is that they wanted Shaka Smart, who's at Marquette, but Shaka didn't feel like they had enough, promises of NIL money. And, of course, we had Mark Byington, who's got Virginia ties, rumored into that job for, I don't know, 6 weeks. Any thoughts on if it's Ryan Odom?
Well, he geographically, I would say that he is high on the list. We've talked about different coaches who are rumored to be and probably are going to be somewhere where there's a job open. Not too many years ago, University of Tennessee was trying to hire a football coach, and public opinion shot that down overnight, it seemed like. The guy from Rutgers,
Greg Schiano.
Schiano, yeah. It appears maybe that right now, when you consider a coaching job, facilities are always big. Can you recruit certain guys? What city is it in? But the looming question is, what kind of NIL money can you give me? And that is the biggest factor now in guys looking for and taking jobs.
And George, I think something important, and Ronnie, I think will agree with this. There are some guys that can win when they have everything, and there's some guys that can't win when they have everything. They're better coaching underdog kids, motivate them up, and so it's not something you just look in a book and say, well, this guy will be successful, because he may be successful where he is, but Ryan Odom's his dad coached at Virginia. I'm sure he knows a lot about Virginia. There's a lot of rumors early that he was going to go to NC State, but Virginia, I'm sure, is more appealing to him because of his connections. But I really think it's such a tough thing, because you can figure out 15 different ways to win, and some guys can do it in multiple ways, and other guys, Ryan's always had a job that had the most money in the league he was in. So does that tell you anything? I don't know, but he's always been successful because wherever he coached had the most money in that league. And so he was able to do things other people in the league wasn't able to do. Not bad, but just had the money to do it. So I think it's very interesting, I think, and I'm not sure that's Virginia and the ACC. Now, will the ACC stay the same? I don't know. Rumors North Carolina will be gone in 4 or 5 years. So, it's going to be very interesting until all this stuff settles. It's going to be hard to figure out who would be good and who wouldn't be. But all those guys that are winning the VCUs, the niche states, that has really nothing to do with projecting whether they can go to a tough situation and try to make it work.
Which makes it really hard on an AD. So, okay, Lee, let me try it this way. If you ask the question, can you win a national title at Virginia? Well, the answer is yes, you can, because Tony Bennett did it. But I'm going to ask you, is it that Tony Bennett was that brilliant, or is Virginia truly a school you can win it all?
Well, and of course, Terry Holland took them to the Final Four with Sampson, the best player in the country. But I would say Tony Bennett was the best X and O guy in the country, but can't exist he said it himself, it can't exist in this model. It doesn't fit him coaching kids up, getting them to be juniors and seniors, and doing the things he wants to do. And unfortunately, as we've talked about Vanderbilt, 13 new guys this year. He's done a great job at Vanderbilt. Will he do a great job every year getting 13 new guys, or 6 or 7 or so everything's kind of out there to figure out what you can do at a school you're at, the best way to do it. And I thought the kids that he had and at Virginia, you're going to have kids that can really do well in the classroom. I'm sure Virginia has rules like Vanderbilt that you have to get a good degree at Virginia, you got to have 2 years at least there. So that kind of cuts them out of getting junior and senior transfers unless they've graduated from another school. So they're probably locked in like Vanderbilt, is they can get freshmen and sophomores transfers, or maybe a junior that has 2 years of eligibility left. But some of these other teams are reloading with 26, 27-year-old guys that only have 1 year left. And so that kind of limits you with just going out and buying talent that can come in 1 year and dominate people. But as I said, we'll see. I think that with the transfer the way it is, it makes it difficult to figure out what will work and what won't work.
Okay, we are off to a great start with the college basketball insiders. Kelly, I've left a lot of meat on the bone for you. After the break, we'll get another March Madness scoreboard update with Billy. We are at JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage, and you're listening to 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Ready to play hooky from work and watch some basketball?
And you didn't think I'd make any money.
Join us from 9 to 6 this Friday at Boomba's Pizza and Watch Bar in Spring Hill at 2044 Crossings Boulevard. Watch some games and don't worry about work.
The plant called and said if you don't come in tomorrow, don't bother coming in Monday.
You might want to let your boss know first.
Woohoo! 4-day weekend.
Join us at Boomba's in Spring Hill. Eat, drink, watch. Your sports live here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, the early games today in March Madness had a lot of chalk. The second half of the afternoon section, not so much so. With a March Madness scoreboard update from JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage. Here's Billy Derrick.
It's brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. Coming up next basketball season, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets already on sale, almost a sellout. So get your tickets now, bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. McNeese and Will Wade all over Clemson right now, 55-40, just under 5 minutes to play in that one. BYU leads VCU 45-34 early in the second half there. And Gonzaga leads Georgia 37-23 with just under 5 minutes left in the first half in that one. Auburn is a winner over Alabama State 83-63. Houston a winner over SIUE 78-40. Wisconsin over Montana 85-66. Purdue takes over High Point 75-63, and Creighton takes down Louisville 89-75.
Okay, college basketball insiders are with us. Lee Fowler, Ron Bargatze, or is it Ron Bargatze and Lee Fowler? Either way, Nate Bargatze will be on Jimmy Fallon tonight, so you'll want to see that. That's Coach B's nephew. Kelly, are you going to be nice to Coach B, or are you going to continue to?
I'm always nice to Coach B.
With violence.
Coach B started it weeks ago, man. He had the slur on me, you know. I don't even remember what it was anymore.
Yeah,
hey,
you don't even
so
know.
let me ask you guys this. So in 1985 they expanded to 64 teams, I think. In football, they've got the 12-team playoff, and I'm going to ask y'all a question about that, the one that I wanted to ask you last week. It's not a big deal, but they've expanded to 12 teams, and they're talking about expanding that. Do y'all think at some point with the NCAA tournament, will they expand the 64 teams? Now they've got the 4-team playoff or the 4-deal playoff in Dayton. Will they expand it to more teams?
I think they will. I think they're going to for next year or either the year after. They have to find a place to play them. They have to make sure that's secured before they actually put it in. So it may take 2 years, but I don't think there's any question. I'm going to an alumni meeting in San Antonio, and my question for them is, how many are we talking about extending? Because it seems to me all the talk, they are going to expand it. I don't know if it'll be 4 or 8 or 6. It's definitely going to expand, and I don't think that a lot of people are for it, but and then everybody else will expand. So you're right. It's kind of the bell cow of the NCAA. So if they expand, then the women will expand, and so you'll get more in all the different sports.
Coach B, do you see it expanding, and do you like it? Do you like that expanding it more?
I don't, because it's hard for me to figure out these West Coast teams that are in the ACC and Big Ten, and geographics have always or geography is always kind of, that's how you identify everyone. It's hard to remember who's in what league now. So I don't know. It's I think that we're in a really volatile time in college athletics with the transfer portal, the NIL, and the conferences that are changing overnight.
Lee, do you like it?
I really don't like it. And one thing I'll mention, you didn't ask, but this year the NIT, they used to take anybody that won a conference championship but didn't win the tournament in it. Now they're not doing that, which leads itself to bigger conferences and adding teams to your conference and getting these bids. And then I thought it was great in NIT when a championship team automatically got into that tournament. So it seems to me that, and I think we all know it, Kelly, it's Big Ten, SEC, and a few of the other conferences, not many of them. They're the power source. They're the ones that want more opportunities to get in. It's all about money. TV wants more opportunities to see those kind of games. So it's really money driven. And I don't know if it's good for the sport. It definitely is changing the sport.
So that's leading me into this question right here. And this is going to take me a few seconds to get this set up. But you look at football, you look at my sport, and I think it's gotten crazy. I think the 12-team playoff, everybody wanted it, but it took way too long. I think college football needs to be done by the 1st of January. You got Greg Sankey's of the world and the Petiti guy of the Big Ten. And I will say this about the SEC. They've kept their footprint. I think if they go after anybody else, they'll probably go after a North Carolina or Virginia because it gives them a team in those states. But you look at the Big Ten, you look at the Big 12, you look at the ACC, and Coach B just talked about it. They're bringing everybody. And football is driving this. And I would hope someday that cooler heads would prevail and say, hey, if you guys want to do that, the AD say, if you guys want to do that, y'all go do it. But I hate that the Pac-12's gone, because now you've got the USC, UCLA volleyball team going to Rutgers and Penn State, which makes no sense to me. But where I'm leading to this is Greg Sankey and the Big Ten commissioner, they're wanting all the small guys out of it. So that brings me to the NCAA tournament, and everybody loves the way that this thing is. They love seeing the upsets on the first day, the second day. They love seeing, the VCUs beat somebody, or the Fairleigh Dickinsons or the St. Peter's go to the Elite Eight. I mean, they love seeing that. But at some point, they say, well, we've had enough upsets. Now let's get these blue bloods in. Let's get North Carolina, Duke. Let's get Michigan State, Kentucky. We want to see all that. But do you guys ever see the NCAA tournament saying that, hey, we're going to do the big schools and then everybody else is on their own? Because you look at it, the SEC's got 14 teams this year. The Big Ten's got 8. I think the other 2 conferences had 4. So that's a majority. That's a lot of it. So do you ever think that the powers that be say, hey, we're not going to worry about the smaller schools anymore. The money is where the big schools are. That's what everybody wants to see. Do you see that, or do you like it the way it is now? Because I love it the way it is now.
Well, Lee, one thing that I think is probably going to happen if the big conferences continue to expand, it's taking everyone one step closer to having a non-NCAA group, and then having one that's small. And I think you're going to see those smaller conference teams lose their automatic bid. Lee probably has a better handle on that than I do, but that's just where I think we're going.
Well, hopefully not. I think that's what makes the tournament so great. You got to remember, football's outside of the NCAA. They oversee it, but they don't run it. Basically, now the SEC and the Big Ten run it, and I guess Notre Dame has a little say, but won't probably for long. But and if George was a part of it, he would take the OVC's deal away from it and not have every conference. But I think it's great the way it is. I think when they add other teams, it's more about getting more of the big schools in, not about getting a second place team in a Sun Belt or an ASUN or something in. So it is about the money, but unless legislation's done about transferring, I just think that it's not going to be a 20 years from now. It'll be completely different, because I just don't think it can stand up with all the money that they're spending. I mean, it's getting like pro franchises, some of these colleges are. And I just think that's not good for the sport. And it's not amateur athletics anymore, as we all know.
Which one do y'all not like? Because it's a double whammy. You got the transfer portal and you got the NIL. Which one do y'all think is the worst of the two, the most evil of the two, I guess you could say?
Well, I can tell you right now, I despise the amount of money that's being spent, and coaches have had some great comments and lines during the year. And one I remember the most that I thought was closest to home is when Rick Barnes had to tell his star transfer from North Florida.
Yeah.
That we're paying you to take that shot. That's the best. That's my favorite quote of the year in college basketball.
Ronnie, I told Rick that. I talked with Rick. I was talking to Justin Gainey, and Rick got on the phone, and we talked for like 30 minutes. And I told him he had by far the best quote of the last 5 years by having said that. And, I think the transfer rule stops it, Kelly, because if you can only transfer once, then that cuts down a bunch of people going after somebody, and because they're not going to pay you a lot of money to sit out a year as short as the fuse is right now. Now they'll have to also say if your coach leaves, then you'll be able to leave a second time. But other than that, and NCAA really doesn't feel like they can do that because they think they'll lose in the court of law, because they can't make a coach stop from leaving. So I just think that if you put those two things in, the money, the amount of money and the money needed every year is going to be a lot less, because you don't have free agency out there. I mean, think about the NBA. If the NBA was every year, these guys could move, and it would be the craziest thing you've ever seen. Now they can move after 2 or 3 or 4 years, but they can't move every year. And so some kind of collective bargaining is going to happen some way, somehow, or this is going to keep on being the Wild Wild West.
Let's blame it on Kirk Flood.
That's right.
Coach B, I'll start with you here. Vandy's got St. Mary's tomorrow, and looking at this Gonzaga-Georgia game, the Zags up 48-27 heading into the half, and that's an SEC versus WCC matchup. Did this happen to Vandy tomorrow? You think? I mean, Gonzaga they're playing well right now. They beat St. Mary's in the WCC title. Is that a possibility where St. Mary's just kind of swallows Vandy with their pace and their style of play?
Well, it's going to put such a premium on all of Vanderbilt's scoring opportunities tomorrow, because if you hit a real run in there where you're cold, or in Vandy's case, if they lose one of their two big guys, and I actually was talking with Coach Byington this week, and I said, you know, if you're going into this tournament and you can't get 30 minutes out of both your big guys, it's going to put your team really, really in serious trouble. And we've seen them have to go beyond those two big guys for their front court positioning, and they just become a different. If Carey and
McLaughlin,
McLaughlin, but if either one of the guys are out, or if both of them are out, they really cut down and they're not a great 3-point shooting team. So I think they've got to make 8 or 10 threes per game and keep those big guys on the court, or they're not going to beat many teams at this level.
Lee, what do you think happens, Vandy, St. Mary's?
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with Gonzaga and Georgia. I think Gonzaga's been there, 17 years in a row. They expect to be there. They're not. The moment has not really gotten to them. And Georgia, who got in and didn't know they were going to get in for sure, and all of a sudden you celebrate for two days, then you're playing, and you're not quite ready for the moment. I think that's what they're looking at. And these games, each game takes on a life of its own. I think St. Mary's is much better than Gonzaga. Beat them during the year, but lost them in the tournament. And so I think Vandy will have to play well to beat them. And a lot of teams will have to play well to beat St. Mary's. I mean, they're one of the schools, I think, that can get to the final, not the Final Four, but probably to the 16 and 8. So they're a very good basketball team, could really beat anybody on a given night, could beat anybody. So I don't think that has anything to do with Georgia and them, but they'll have to play really well tomorrow because St. Mary's is a very good basketball team.
Guys, you look at Tennessee's draw. If they beat Wofford tonight, which you never know, Wofford's they're a solid team. They'll play the winner of UCLA and Utah State, which again, that you look. I don't know a ton about those two teams, but you got Mick Cronin there at UCLA. If they get past there, it's likely either at Kentucky, Illinois, maybe Xavier. Lee, I'll start with you. What did you think when you saw Tennessee's draw, and do you think there's a path there to the Final Four for them?
I actually did a bracket this morning. I put them in the Final Four. So yes, I believe there is. I believe they like their draw, and once again, they just got to be able to shoot the ball and score because they'll play defense. They were talking today about Houston, and every game Houston's going to play defense, and every game Tennessee's going to play defense. It's just according to what the other team can do to them to keep them from scoring. And if they can, they could be in trouble. But I think if they're playing same type teams, they'll be fine because they will defense you and really keep you outside, not let you penetrate. So I think Tennessee has a chance. It's going to take a lucky win at some point to get there. And I really feel like that they have a chance with the draw they got.
Coach B?
Well, I think, number one, Tennessee has had trouble scoring in spurts along the way. And they've got to have that third scorer step up. And they've had that here in the last couple of games, and because their bench now seems a little longer than it did about 3 weeks ago. So I think Tennessee, their defense, like Lee said, their defense is the X factor, and they will guard you as well as anybody in the country. And I'd say that I would think that Lee's right. Tennessee and defensively, Houston and Tennessee appear to be the strongest two teams defensively. I think we've seen in all the brackets.
Hey Lee, I got one for you.
All right.
The best team out west is not UCLA. It's not Gonzaga. It's not St. Mary's. It's BYU.
Is that just today or?
I don't know. I've thought when I've watched them this year, first of all, they have a terrific home court.
Yeah.
That Marriott Center they play in, they put about 20,000 in there. They're really tough at home. You saw them blow out Kansas earlier this year in Provo. They're pretty darn good, and it's not just the three-point shooting. They've got some inside. I'm watching them right now dismantle a really good VCU team. BYU's for real.
Yeah, I think that they're a good basketball team. I'm a little shocked that VCU is getting handled like they are, but you never know what the coach leaving does to a team. And at McNeese State, it looks like it's a positive because they're playing loose, and on the other side, VCU, it looks like it could be a negative. So you never know, and kids are kids, even though they're making more money than we did as kids, they still got to show up and play.
A lot more money than their coaches are making in some cases.
Coach B, you sound bitter.
Hey, you know who messed up the local salary situation? Bruce Stewart.
No, I was going to say Nate Bargatze.
Nah,
hey,
if he were coaching, he would not have made the field.
George, here's a great question. Ronnie, what was your first salary at Vanderbilt as assistant coach?
Ooh.
Well, I was told it was going to be $10,000 a year. When I got there, our business manager, Mr. Naylor, informed me that Coach Skinner went out on a limb and gave me $500 a year more than he should have, so I made $9,500. I topped out after 10 years at $18,500.
Coach B, congratulations.
When I went to Vanderbilt as assistant coach, I went there at $16,000. So that means Naylor saved $2,500 on Ronnie's salary from the year before, and I made $16,000 that year. So assistant coaches now, George, are making $500,000.
Crazy.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, it explains why Coach B knows that Nate's going to be on Jimmy Fallon tonight.
Well,
okay. Go ahead.
I keep hoping that Nate becomes wiser as he gets older, and that he earns that the salary needs to trickle down a little bit in the family.
Is he giving you some kickback?
Yet.
Coach B, is he giving you some kickback?
No. Kicked out is all I got.
Oh, that's
I used to have a key to his golf room where there's a really nice simulator. Dang, if he didn't move the simulator to a different house. I think it's because of me.
I can see that. Okay, let's do this. We'll go to the break. If anybody wants to jump in with a question or a comment, do it quick. 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Billy, what's the other way?
Chat room's open on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You can fire away your comments or questions for the guys, and we'll get them over to them.
Clemson is down 5 with 22 seconds left. That is a dramatic change, but nonetheless, McNeese still up, and they got the ball. We're back to JB's Poorhouse on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, PanCoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
3,400. JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage has one of the best sports bar setups around, and it'll play host to the George Plaster Show on Thursday, March the 20th. That's the first full day of March Madness. Large TVs, great hoops, terrific food, and friendly service. It's what JB's Poorhouse is all about. See you on March 20th for a day full of what I call adult spring break.
A lot of people want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't.
Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
What? That one caught me off guard.
Yeah, it appears that McNeese State has pulled it off, and they have,
They did.
to the tune of 69-67. Coach B, Clemson waited way too long to make the comeback.
Gone, and they started pressing, and you get behind in a game like that, it changes your whole approach, and all the game plan, everything goes out the window. It's just catch-up time.
So that is our first big upset of the tournament, a 12 beating a 5. Who will McNeese State get now?
Purdue. Yeah, Purdue on Saturday.
They can hang with Purdue.
Absolutely.
What I've seen of Purdue, well, certainly not fair to say this, but without Zach Edey, this is nowhere near the Purdue of recent years.
They've got good guards, though.
Yeah. Okay, let me get you guys real quickly on a couple of things. Can Drake take Missouri to the wire?
Yes, I think they can. I'm very impressed with their coach, and not only this year, but he basically took a Division II team and won the Valley going away.
I think they can, George. I don't know if they will or not, but he's won 4 national championships, I think, Ronnie, as a D2 coach. So
Northwest Missouri or whatever it was.
It's not over his head at all to come into a tournament like this and play. And where's he going? Not only are we talking about where everybody's come from, now we're talking about where everybody's going.
Well,
who's the hot right now?
Supposedly he came in second at Indiana. By the way, guys, Darren DeVries in his introductory press conference at Indiana pretty openly admitted that he and Indiana had been talking throughout the season. I didn't think that was a really smart thing to say, but Lee, that's not good.
No, and he probably wasn't as mad as coach would have been by not getting in the tournament, because 2 days later he's got probably a better job, and I'm sure they agreed to pay off anything he owes at West Virginia. So that's interesting, but I just think that in college now, that's the way it's going to be. I mean, things that used to never happen, that would have never happened in the past. They do because there's no real rules and regulations anymore. It's the Wild Wild West.
Nobody's bothered by it.
Well, you're seeing guys start for different teams in the same league, guarding each other and playing against each other. So I think that broke the old stereotype of not going within your own league to hire a coach or obviously to keep players on your roster.
Guys, let me do this. We're going to run because we're going to get one last March Madness scoreboard update. And then, Kelly, you know what we're going to do.
We're going to try to win a game, which you hadn't done here lately.
Coach B, we're in a slump. And I know that the next time I see Larry Schmittou, he's going to bring it up.
Are you at the bowling alley?
No, we're at JB's Poorhouse. But Coach Schmittou he's like Kelly. If things go sour, he'll let me know it.
As he should.
Yeah. Hey,
correct.
Thank you guys both for coming on here today and yapping a little hoops with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron Bargatze, Lee Fowler, but most importantly, Nate Bargatze tonight on Jimmy Fallon. Okay, Billy, give us your final March Madness scoreboard update, and then I'm going to pick some winners. If for no other reason, then it's about dadgum time.
It's about time for another March Madness scoreboard update brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. When they square off December 5th, it'll be packed at Bridgestone Arena. If you want tickets, they're going fast. You better hurry. BridgestoneArena.com is where you can find them. You can also find them on the Ticketmaster app. All right. BYU currently leads VCU 64-52, just under 8 minutes to play in that one. Gonzaga all over Georgia at the half, 48-27. Tough go of it for the Bulldogs' first NCAA tournament appearance since 2002. McNeese, as George said, takes down Clemson 69-67. So congrats to Will Wade and the Cowboys. We've got the next slate of games getting set to tip off at 5:50, starting with Wofford and Tennessee. You can see that on TNT. Arkansas and Kansas at 6:10. Yale and Texas A&M at 6:30. And Drake and Missouri at 6:40. So this next slot of games here is going to be really, really entertaining with the SEC in action. Finals, Auburn takes down Alabama State 83-63. Houston over SIUE 78-40. Wisconsin, a winner over Montana 85-66. Purdue takes down High Point 75-63. Creighton all over Louisville 89-75.
If you are just getting in the car and you're saying, wow, that McNeese State game must have been something, truthfully, it wasn't until the last 5 minutes when Clemson made the run to get it to respectability at 69-67. That was the closest that they ever got. At halftime, what was it, 18? McNeese?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are you prepared to show the ride on the Hindenburg?
I am.
Yeah,
I know Kelly
was afraid
is.
of that. Yeah.
It's all brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law.
But you don't see me dodge it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Taking it head on.
You stand firm, George. You stand firm. You're like a buffalo, man. When a buffalo is going down, man, he turns to face his foe, and that's you.
Bradley.
I have met the enemy, Kelly, and it is you.
Bradley got a win last night. But George now 47-54-2.
Yeah.
That's
That's not good enough. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm going with 3 plays tonight, and then, Kelly, 2 early plays tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's start with the Hogs.
The Hogs.
The Hogs. I'm taking the Hogs. Why? Because I don't think this is all that great a Kansas team. This is not an overloaded Kansas. Oh, they're much more talented. It comes down to this. If Jonas Adu does just a decent job on Hunter Dickinson, Arkansas can win this game.
Yeah.
And it would help the SEC because Georgia, as I look, what's Georgia down?
About 25 at the half.
Ugh, not good. So this would be a good win for the SEC if we could get the Hogs in the win column. This next one is going to be a war. If you haven't seen Drake not only is smart, they're pretty athletic. Now, the question I've got is, Missouri is really athletic. To me, the X factor in this game is Caleb Grill, because when he explodes, Missouri explodes. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Drake is going to be there right to the wire. Not saying they're going to win, but I do think they're going to cover the 6.5. You like that?
I like that Drake pick, at least to cover. I don't know if they win, but I like that to cover.
Here is the sexy pick out west that everybody is going with.
Almost too many.
And I am too. Cal San Diego is for real. Michigan, I don't know.
They just won the Big Ten tournament.
I get it. But when I watch Michigan during the regular season, I just kind of go, eh.
Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. Don't forget I told you that.
UC, SD. We're going there. By the way, that thing last night,
administrative error.
I got choked up because I was thinking about American.
They were not very good.
They didn't turn out too well. They were not very American last night. Good gracious. I saw that and I was laughing at you, George, when I saw that score.
That's wonderful. So, tomorrow, 2 picks. This is a sexy one that a lot of people are going with. Why? Because Colorado State has been on fire for about a month. They just got through handing Boise State their hat in the Mountain West Conference game. Likely to be a game in the low 70s. Half court. Possessions going to matter. Is Memphis going to play smart enough? Probably not. That's why I'm going Colorado State. Here's the other thing. Memphis has a history of not hitting free throws. And that is a bad, bad deal when you get in the tournament.
Neat
Colorado,
Clifford.
yes. Colorado State to win outright. And finally, look, this one's a gut shot. These two teams deserve each other. Very athletic. Depending on which one shoots the ball well, that's who's going to win.
Jekyll and Hyde.
There are nights that Mississippi State can't throw it in the ocean. There are also nights where Baylor can't throw it in the ocean. These two teams are perfectly matched for each other. Why am I going State? They're in the SEC. That's all I can give you.
Big SEC homer.
Kelly, I'm getting 3 of the 5 at least.
Do you think so?
I do.
I think Larry Schmitto's right. I think you do a bunch of games so you can mask what's been going on.
It's been disgraceful. What has happened in recent days. If I'm listening to this, I'm probably calling my man and going the other way. But, So, Kelly, you're done. Your week is over.
I am done.
Billy
I get to
and
watch
I
a little basketball. Yeah.
Billy and I just continue to toil away while you sit at home and do whatever it is you do on those days.
I don't sit at home. Hey, I don't sit at home. I've told you what I do. I go see my mom on Fridays. You know that.
Yes, and that's nice of you to do that. And even though that is nice, that's not going to get you off the hook. I want to thank, seriously, before we get out of here, the folks at JB's Poorhouse, Jason Ballard and the entire crew. Really good food, good TV setup. If you're in the Hermitage area, come on out here tonight. There's going to be some great basketball. So, for our entire crew and even Kelly, this is George Plaster. So long, everybody.
George, you can miss a meal, Hoss.
Well, thanks, Kelly.